Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Medic Regional Blood Center. I want you to go to medicblood.org, and I want you to click on their updated calendar, and you're going to see all their upcoming blood drives. Of course, you can also give blood at their main office on Ayler Avenue. That's where I went. Folks, it's 100% fact when I say that there's no better way to give back to your community. You're giving life-saving blood to your neighbors. Medic Regional Blood Center. It's a great thing to do. All right, quick question for the group here. One group seems like it should be a real worry, and the other we thought was, that'll be a strength of this team. That kind of was the view. As it turns out, well, the kicking game's still probably a worry. You're still trying to replace Trevor Daniel. You got 2 or 3 guys competing for the punter position. Place kicker, Brent Cimaglia, and then Ryan Tice, the kid that transferred in from Michigan. You're still not sure. Cimaglia was kind of so-so in his freshman year. Still not sure what that's going to be. Is that the bigger concern, or is it the fact that the receivers, who so many people were thinking, we got good receivers, they got off to a slow start. Left a lot of passes on the ground, had a lot of drops, and Juwan Jennings still isn't 100% after his knee operation this offseason. Which is the bigger concern for you right now, kicking game or receivers?
I'm going to go with kicking game because I think we've been spoiled at Tennessee with a punter that can flip the field.
Yeah.
And if you averaged what, Jimmy, SEC games last year, when it only like 14 points, something like that, it wasn't enough.
Offensively,
yeah,
correct.
offensive. If you only average 14 points, if you don't improve on that significantly, you're going to be having a lot of punts. You're going to be having some field goals. You're going to need just to salvage some points. The receivers can pick it up. But the punter and the place kicker, you got to have something solid there.
Yeah, I agree with Chuck because no punter or place kicker has really proven anything, right? At least the receivers have shown signs of being good. Juwan Jennings did have a 40-catch season, and Callaway showed some signs last year, and so did Brandon Johnson. So I think even if you have a blip on the radar screen as a receiver, you have at least shown the potential to be really good, or you have had flashes. You don't have any of that with the punters or place kickers, so I'm going to say that's the biggest worry.
I agree. Is anybody willing to go receiver?
No, I will say this though. Last year, I do think that, and I think it's the kicking game is the bigger concern. But the receivers last year did struggle to get separation throughout the year, and with the same group mostly back, I think you've still got to worry about that a little bit, especially with the way this team's going to play. Like Bob said earlier, not throwing the ball a lot. You got to take advantage of your opportunities and be efficient. If those guys can't do it, it's going to hold back the entire offense. But I still think the kicking game is the bigger concern.
Except for when they're throwing deep. Tyson Hill would say, "We're run." Except we're going to throw it deep a lot. It's like, which is it? But anyway.
As far as the kicking game goes, go back to the Dooley era. Remember the year that they couldn't field a punt?
Yeah.
People never think about these
Hard
things.
to forget that year. Yeah.
You never think about how important that stuff is until it doesn't work. And I'll go with what Chuck said. We become spoiled around here with some really outstanding punting. So I think that could end up being really big if this team is improved.
You're going to be in some close games.
And that comes back and bites you. That would be a sad thing.
Trevor Daniel was a guy that not only had a big leg, what he averaged 45, 46 yards a kick, which was good, but also his directional punting was outstanding. I mean, and it wasn't just a one-year blip. You know, a lot of these punters and kickers, they'll have a really good year and then they'll fall back to earth, or vice versa. He was solid for 3 years. His last year wasn't as good as his first 2, still pretty darn good. So when you look at what he delivered and you think you got to replace that, I'm going kicking game as well. I think that's clearly a big
And one other little thing, maybe it's not little, is if you were working early with 4 quarterbacks before you trim it down, and Jeremy Pruitt said they were going to do that, that can be difficult for receivers to adjust to. Like if Garantano is throwing a fastball, Chris is throwing it can be difficult to adjust to all those different throwing styles.
Okay. Very good. When we come back, Philip Fulmer had a comment this week saying he's not going to interfere with the coaching staff. We'll discuss that. Also, some ADs, 15 Power 5 athletic directors were asked if they would hire Lane Kiffin, former ball coach. Their responses were interesting. We'll discuss. Come on back.